Hello friends, unless you're living under a rock, you probably know that this week Miley Cyrus's new album drops. It honestly might already be out by the time you're watching this. We thought that it would be a fun little video to go over the evolution of Miley Cyrus. We're gonna tell you all about Miley because she's a queen and we love her.
It's true. Okay, so we're gonna start in 2006, the beginning of this girl's career. She was only 13 years old when she was cast as Hannah Montana.
That is crazy.
Like, wrap that around your brain. Obviously, she became huge.
It's like peak Disney.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Peak Disney Channel. Also, if you don't know, her dad, Billy Ray, is a famous country singer.
She already had stardom in her blood. The next year in 2007, Hannah Montana was doing really well, obviously. She went on a couple tours as Hannah Montana throughout 2006 and 2007. She toured with the Cheetah Girls.
What?
Yeah.
Imagine saying that you saw the Cheetah Girls and Hannah Montana.
In 2007, the second Hannah Montana soundtrack was released, and it was a double album. So the first one was the Hannah Montana soundtrack, and then the second was Meet Miley Cyrus, which was her first solo performance as herself and not as Hannah Montana. Off of this Meet Miley Cyrus album, See You Again popped off. We all know her, we all love her. She peaked at number 10 on the Hot 100.
Period.
Who else was doing it like her at 14?
Not even Justin Bieber did that, girl.
Right? During this time, she was working on her first solo album without Hannah Montana attached to it. And this was Breakout, which came out in 2008.
I think this was her saying, yes, I'm an actress, but, at my core, I'm a musician.
Off of Breakout, we had the banger, the instant classic, 7 Things.
About Nick Jonas.
7 Things spent 15 weeks on the Hot 100, and it peaked at number 9.
Only number 9?
Right? She should have been higher, respectfully. Breakout was more of a mature, kind of rock style, when Hannah Montana was more poppy and boppy. In 2009, we had the Hannah Montana movie. And you bet I saw that in theaters.
If you get it, you get it. We were a part of something together. That's what this movie did for America. For the world, really.
From the Hannah Montana movie, we all know the Hoedown Throwdown, which peaked at number 14 on the Hot 100.
A classic.
We had one of the best songs of all time, The Climb.
More culturally significant than the Renaissance, truly.
This was a mature song. She hit the radio, peaked at number 4, which was her highest rated song so far. During the Hannah Montana the movie era, Miss Miley was also working on her first EP, The Time of Our Lives, which did come out in 2009 as well. The Time of Our Lives absolutely cemented her as one of the number 1 pop girlies of the era because it had Party in the USA on it. She needs no introduction. Everyone knows Party in the USA. It peaked at number 2 on the Hot 100. Should have been 1. But it peaked at number 2, and this was Miley's highest ranking song so far at 16 years old. Miley had a great year in 2009, obviously.
She was booked and busy, girl.
Next, it brings us to 2010. She was nearing kind of the end of Hannah Montana, kind of wanting to be more mature in the public eye. So she starred in The Last Song, which was Nicholas Sparks' book. This is when she met Liam Hemsworth. She was doing more mature acting roles.
She's trying to break out of this teeny bopper mold.
I wanted to give an honorable mention to When I Look at You from that movie. I love that song. The vocals,
it just hits.
2010 is also when she releases her solo album, Can't Be Tamed. This launches her into her Can't Be Tamed era.
You just had to be there.
She was giving rock, she was giving glam.
This is when Miley really said, hey, I'm not a little girl anymore. She started wearing more scandalous clothing. There was such controversy. I mean, this was 2010, and so obviously
times have changed.
I think it was such a big deal and like such a moment in pop culture too, because so many like parents and like younger children considered Miley a role model. So when this era happened, everyone was like, where's the role model?
So Can't Be Tamed was her last album to be put out through Hollywood Records, which was like kind of under the Disney kind of umbrella. This brings us to 2011, and this is when the last episode of Hannah Montana airs. She wanted a more mature image, and this also goes into 2012, and this is when she kind of focuses more on acting in mature roles. So she stars in LOL with Miss Demi Moore.
So these are like her first roles right after Hannah Montana ended.
And then she stars in So Undercover, which was such a cute movie. I liked it when it came out. I don't know. I saw it. So she's trying to look for like this more mature image. And finally, when Hannah Montana was over, she was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to pop off. And this is when the iconic pixie cut era occurs. She got her pixie cut, she dyed her hair blonde, and the entire world like blew up in flames. This brings us to her Bangerz era.
2013. This is when Miley signs with RCA Records. Finally, she's under a record label that is not tied to Disney, and she releases her fourth album, Bangerz. Bangerz is like this party, like house music, hip hop, like trap beats, which we have not seen from Miley until this point. A lot of people were very shocked. This was her big music comeback. I think this was the first time that we really saw her as a musician first and an actress second. I mean, the album is like correctly named because it just has so many good songs. The first single, We Can't Stop, peaked at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was just like one of the biggest songs of 2013. She didn't keep up this good girl image that she had. And then we have the famous Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball was Miley's first number 1 hit, so peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The music video for Wrecking Ball was a huge pop culture moment. She is nude on an actual wrecking ball. Definitely caused some controversy because like that type of music and art was still very taboo. That music video broke the record for the most views ever in 24 hours. This same year, Miley also had an MTV documentary called Miley Cyrus The Movement come out. It basically documented the album making process of Bangerz. This same year, we did see Miley in a little bit of controversy. During this era, Miley was kind of unhinged, but I think it was because she was trying so hard to break away from this teeny bopper good girl image. She hosted the VMAs. She did twerk on Robin Thicke.
People were not a
People
fan.
were not happy. MTV was not happy. She did get banned from the VMAs for a little while, but we moved on. She then goes on a huge world tour, the Bangerz tour in 2014. This was cool to see Miley's shows under her own creative direction. Then in 2015, Miley releases her 5th album. It's called Miley Cyrus and Her Dead Pets, but Pets with a Z. This album is interesting because it was originally released independently on SoundCloud. This album is experimental, like psychedelic rock.
It sounded like she just went in the studio and had fun.
I think that this album also really fit the indie sleaze era that was happening in like 2014 and 2015 because we were in the height of like the Tumblr age. So in 2016, she becomes an advisor on season 10 of The Voice. And then the next season, season 11, later that year, they ask her to be a full-time coach. She basically just does The Voice all of 2016. And then in 2017, she was asked to be a coach on season 13. She does that season. She also makes a little uncredited cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. She just has like a little voice part. And then in that same year, she releases Malibu. This song peaked at number 10. This was Miley's first single that I think really resonated with everyone. We really see her like raw and stripped back. Her 6th studio album, Younger Now, drops later that year. She did not release any other singles from this album, nor did she tour this album because she was already working on the next one. Then in 2018, she releases a song with Mark Ronson called Nothing Breaks Like a Heart. It's a bop. She also marries Liam Hemsworth. Her relationship with Liam Hemsworth really impacted her music very deeply. Then in 2019, she announces that her next album will be called She Is Miley Cyrus. It will be made up of 3 separate EPs. So She Is Coming, She Is Here, She Is Everything. She drops the first EP, She Is Coming. It peaks at number 5. Miley announces that she is not going to release the album anymore just due to some personal things going on in her life. She also separates from Liam Hemsworth during this time. However, in 2019, she does star in the Netflix series Black Mirror. She stars as a pop star. Her pop star's name is Ashley O. She drops a song from the series called On a Roll, and it's so catchy. She drops her single called Slide Away. This was her first song since she separated from Liam Hemsworth. It needs more recognition than it got. It's such a good song. Miley has dropped a couple singles here and there, but has not released a full album since 2017. Then we get to 2020. Miley announces that she's gonna have a new album.
Come on, queen!
And she drops the first single, Midnight Sky, and it peaks at number 14. She also does a little remix of it with Stevie Nicks. Then later that year, she drops her album Plastic Hearts, and it has Dua Lipa on it. Hello. It has rock icons like Billy Idol and Joan Jett on it.
I loved her glam rock era.
Obviously, she couldn't tour that year. However, in 2021, she was asked to do the Super Bowl pre-show. This was one of the first times that we saw live music come back. Then she decides to change record labels. So when she released Bangerz in 2013, she went from Hollywood Records to RCA Records, and now she switches to Columbia Records. They have artists like Adele, Harry Styles, Beyonce, the big names. And then in early 2022, she decided to do a South American tour. She decided that she was gonna give the fans what they have been asking for years, which is a live album. So Attention, Miley Cyrus Live, came out in 2022. Her most requested songs are on there. Her single Attention came out, which was like Riot Girl, hard rock. Also in 2022, she does a special with NBC and has Miley's New Year's Eve party. That brings us to this year, 2023. I personally think the year of Miley Cyrus. So NBC asked Miley to do her New Year's Eve party again, but this time she co-hosts with Miss Dolly Parton herself. During this New Year's Eve party, she announces that her single Flowers is gonna be coming out. This is her first song in like 3 years. Flowers, it's still sitting on the Hot 100. It peaked at number 1, like it's a hit.
Her second number 1.
Yeah, in the summer vacation, she announces that it's gonna come out on March 10th. This album is her first album under Columbia Records, like I said. She also announced that she's gonna have a special on Disney Plus, and it's basically Endless Summer Vacation, the backyard sessions, and it's her playing the album front to back, and you can watch it on Disney Plus. That is the evolution of Miss Miley Cyrus herself. We are so excited for Endless Summer Vacation. If you love Miley like we do, like this video, subscribe for more content, and we'll see you next time.